In this lab, you're going to build an app for the rock, paper, scissors game. So first of all, if you look at the title of the game, it's going to be EECS 1022 W18 Lab 3 RPS game. So the title must be the same as your app. And then you can see that at the bottom there, you can see the display. It says new game started, enter names of players. So these are the two lines you must display whenever you start a new game, including in the beginning. Okay, so basically every time you can expect whenever you click on start a new game at the bottom there, it's going to reset the game state and also to display these two lines. Okay, and this is the following assumption you can make about the player's behavior. So every player is going to start with a new game, and then they're going to enter the names for the player 1, enter the name for player 2, and then they're going to select the option for player 1, select the option for player 2, and then finish round 1 and etc. and finish round 2 and finish round 3. Okay, that's the sequence you can expect. Let's demonstrate this. First of all, let's play a game. So now, first of all, let's say the name of the player 1 should be, let's say, Suyang. And then let's enter the name for the second player. Let's say Yuna. And then we're going to select to see what should be the options for Suyang and Yuna. Let's say for now, Suyang actually play with, let's say, paper. And then Yuna, player 2, is going to play with, let's say, rock. So in this case, we're going to get a result for the round number 1. So we're going to click on the button to say finish round 1. After this, if you see the display, it's going to change to say round 1 finished, winner is Suyang so far. Okay, and then we're going to go on to the second round. And now for the second round, we're going to choose for Suyang, player 1 first. Let's say for Suyang, let's say it's now scissors. And then let's say for the round number 2, we want the Yuna to win, the second player. Let's say for player 2, it's going to be, let's say, rock. Okay, in this case, in round number 2, player 2 is going to win. So now remember in round number 1, Suyang, the first player, actually won. So now in round number 2, the second player win. Now in this case, we're going to get a tie. Okay, so as soon as you hit the button for finish round 2, now we say round 2 finished, tie between Suyang and Yuna. So you must make sure every time when you print out the result, which can be either player 1 wins so far, or the player 2 wins so far, or there's a tie between player 1 and player 2. You cannot simply just say player 1 and player 2. You must display the names that we just entered for the 2 players. Okay, now so we have finished the 2 rounds. The game is not over yet. So now we can continue to the third round. So the third round can now either be the player 1 wins, so overall the player 1 will win, or the player 2 can win, in which case the player 2 will win the overall game, or there can be a tie, which means overall is going to be a tie. Okay, so these can be 3 possibilities. I'm just going to demonstrate one of them. So let's say for the third round, Suyang, the first player, is going to win again. So let's say Suyang is now going to have, so she has already played paper and scissors. What about just rock? And then let's say for Yuna is going to be, let's say in this case, player 2 is going to be rock and then scissors. Okay, in this case, player 1 is going to win, Suyang. Okay, now we say finish round 3. So now you can see that round 3 finished, winner is Suyang, and we got an extra line to say game is over. So whenever the game is over, you must to say that it is over. Okay, so now let's say we are finished with this current game. We want to start with the game again. We do not have to restart the app. So you should really click on the button to say start a new game. And then let's see what happened. So as soon as I hit on starting a new game, we're going to display a new line. Okay, to say start a new game over here, new game started, enter names of the players. So this is exactly the same as when we first started the app. And internally, your game objects should have been also reset. So that's something up to your developments. Okay. However, you don't necessarily have to change the names of the player 1 and 2. We can just override it and then write it to a new name. Okay. For that part, it's not so strict. Okay. So now let's say we want to play a new game. So now let's say we want to change the name of player 1. Let's say it's a Hyang. Okay, let's say for player number 2 for the new game, let's say it's Jiyun. Okay, so we have Hyang being player 1 and Jiyun being player 2. Okay, so far no changes has been made just yet. So now let's say we want to go for the round number 1. Okay, for round number 1, let's say Hyun is going to play scissors, and then Ji-yoon is going to play, let's say the first round, let's say Hyun wins. Okay, scissors and then paper. Okay, so now when we say finish round 1, and then it's going to say round 1 finished, winner is Hyun, the first player. Okay, let's make the second round also the first player, Hyun, also won. In which case the game should be over already, because only up to 3 rounds. If a player already has won 2 rounds, there's no need for the third round. But we're going to see how this should be reflected in our game, in our app. Okay, let's say for round number 2, let's say Hyun now plays, let's say paper. Okay, and then let's make it more interesting. What about, let's say Hyun plays scissors, not scissors, let's say rock. Okay, and then let's say for Ji-yoon, the second player, let's say she plays for scissors. In which case, the player number 1, Hyun, will still win. Okay, as soon as we say finish round number 2, it's gonna say that round 2 finished, winner is Hyun, and game is over. Okay, so now game is already over. Let's say somehow we make some choices to say we want to play with this round number 3. Now your game should your app should really say it's wrong because game is already over. Let's try. Let's say we still want to play round number 3 in the current game. Let's say Hyun actually plays scissor, and then let's say this time let's say Ji-yoon plays rock. So you would think we should say maybe Ji-yoon, the second player, should win, but that's not the case because the game is already over. Because Hyun, the first player, has already won twice. Okay, if you say finish round 3, click on the button there. You're gonna see error. Game is already over. Okay, so so far we have seen 2 cases over here. So you should really try as many cases as possible as to see how the game should be can be played. Okay, let's do one more exercise. So now, if I want to start a new game, I can click on the button at the button at the bottom there, start a new game. If I click on that, it says new game started. Enter names of players. Okay, let's try one more time. Okay, let's try a game where we got tie. Okay, so now let's try the following. Let's say let's put Sun-hae over here as first player, and then the second one Ji-hae. Let's say. So we got Sun-hae as the first player and Ji-hae as the second player. Okay, so now let's try something that will lead to a tie. Okay, let's say let's say first round the second player win, and the second round the first player wins, and the third round is a tie, and overall it should be a tie. Why don't we try that? Okay, let's say the first round, let's say rock versus paper, in which case the second player, who is Ji-hae, is going to win. Okay, let's try that. Okay, finish the round number 1. Winner is Ji-hae, the second player. Okay, let's do the second round. For the second round there, let's say the first player should win. Now in this case, let's say we have paper versus let's say scissors versus paper. Okay, in this case, we finish this round number 2. We're gonna have basically a tie because in the second round, the first player actually wins in this time. Okay, we say finish round 2. Now round 2 finished, the tie between Sun-hae and Ji-hae. Again, you must display the names of the new players every time. Okay, so now we're going to play round number 3. In this case, let's say make a tie between the 2 players. Okay, so now why don't we choose rock, scissors? Okay, let's say paper for the first player and also paper for the second player. Now that means the first round the second player wins, and the first round the second player won, and the second round the first player won. So far it's a tie, and let's also make the third round a tie, which will make the whole game a tie. Okay, so now finish playing round number 3. Click on the button there. It will say round 3 finished, tie between Sun-hae and Ji-hae. Game is over. So you must always print out this game is over message when it is over. So game can be over either after the second round or after the third round. You have to decide. Your app must programmatically decide. Okay, so we have demonstrated basically a few test cases for you, but you really try to explain the game exhaustively, try all the possibility to make sure your app can really work. Okay, so these are only examples for you to get an idea about the game, but you should really test more.